Zemgala has always been known as Latvia's farming capital, renowned for its fertile fields of golden wheat. The story starts at Bouska Castle, which stands at the junction of the Musa and Memele rivers. The oldest part of the castle was built by the Knights of the Livonian Order to protect their southern border and control the important trade route from Lithuania to Riga. Its thick ramparts have survived many a battle. The newer part of the castle was built by the first Duke of Zemgala and Kurzem as a fortified residence for his aristocratic family and household. This era brought great innovations not only in the arts, but also in domestic life, with more refined table manners and new forms of entertainment and leisure. Although the Renaissance is known as the era of humanism, armed conflict was never far away. That is why parks were not important, and all social activity took place within the safety of the castle walls. Free time, especially for the ladies of the household, was abundant, and they spent it on relaxed conversation, dancing, and creating beautifully elegant costumes. Clothes of the Renaissance era can still be seen in Bouska Castle today, and they can be worn as well as admired. The distance between Bauska and Rundale is 13 kilometers and a century and a half. Rundale was built in the 18th century, when the Age of Enlightenment reigned over Europe, and exercise of the mind had more prestige than exercise of the sword. The function of these palaces ceased to be defensive. Rather, it was to display style, manners and culture. Parks and gardens were no less important than the buildings themselves. For a traveller crossing the flat plains of Zemgala, Rundale Palace rises in front of his eyes from nowhere, like a mirage. This is a Baroque and Rococo jewel, the most outstanding palace not only in Zemgala, but in all of Latvia. It tells the story of the Duke of Courland's extraordinary breadth of vision and style. The palace contains the private apartments of the Duke and Duchess, and ornately decorated halls for diplomatic events, courtly celebrations and balls. Similar to Versailles, the palace is surrounded by a park in the French style, containing avenues, fountains, parterre, canals, pavilions, and rose plantations. Rundale was the Duke's summer residence, and then, as now, it is best enjoyed in the summer when the roses are in full bloom. The rose garden is the largest in the Baltics, and it tells the story of rose cultivation from the 18th century to the present. In the summer, this was the setting for parties and balls for nobility from near and far. Rundale's closest neighbours were the lords of Mezotne, whose manor was close by on the other side of the Lielupe River. The Tsarina Catherine II of Russia had given the manor to Charlotte, the governess of her grandchildren, who had married into the Lievens family, one of the oldest and noblest families of Baltic Germans. Charlotte von Lieven started the construction of the palace in 1797, but chose a landscape design in the English style for the park, rather than the regular geometric style of Rundale. It is said that the design of the park cost twice the design for the palace itself. Mezotne Palace is built in classical style, noble and dignified. The most imposing room in the palace is the Cupola Hall, inspired by the Pantheon in Rome. cupola ceiling supports a 40-candle chandelier, and the walls depict trompe-l'oeil figures from Atlantis. If you would like to stay longer, you're welcome to one of the hotel rooms on the 3rd floor. Our story ends at Rundale. The restoration of Rundale Palace is the most ambitious restoration undertaken in the history of Latvia, and it has become a major tourist attraction. 41 of its 138 rooms have been painstakingly restored. Only the Duke's workroom and library remain to be completed. Rundale, however, is not just a museum. It's a place where the spirit of the Baroque is kept alive today, with performances, celebrations, and excellent classical music concerts for the enjoyment of itself and visitors alike. Bauska, Mezotne, Rundale, the 3 great palaces of Zemgal.